Good morning, everyone. It's Monday. And I feel like I had such a weekend that I was off, not working. I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm going to kind of talk to you, replay people while I'm waiting for other people to show up this Monday morning. It's beautiful here in North Carolina. I always forget that I have glasses on, and that's why my vision isn't clear, because my glasses need to be cleaned. Good morning, Shannon. Good morning, Hannah. So this week I have a topic that's going to unfold, and it's going to unfold as much around just talking about it because there's so many different pieces to it, but also it's going to unfold because I'm learning about this particular subject in a different way. So I'm going to just start talking about it with the input of you guys too, to build some new knowledge. Now, it's funny because I get a lot of my information intuitively. So sometimes it's information that's new to me, but of course it's not new because there's so much knowledge in the world. But it's really cool because when I learn something intuitively, it's a different feeling, and it's a feeling of like muscle memory, experience, and understanding, like you've lived it versus just reading about it. So that's how I feel this week about this particular subject. Good morning, Stephanie. Nice to see you here. So, how was everybody's weekend? Did you have a good weekend? I hope you did. Summer's coming, so hopefully the weather is warming up for a lot of you guys, wherever you happen to be. I had a great weekend. I actually think I worked less this weekend than I have in several months. So I woke up like, oh no, I have a lot to do, but it's okay because I had a really nice weekend. Shannon, that's nice. It was peaceful. All right. So our topic this week is around our operating system, and I'm going to call it our operating system because here's a question for you guys, and I'd love to hear like what you have to say about this. We have thoughts. We think them all day, right? Sometimes they're, oh no, Shannon, we're going to send the internet vibes to help it be okay for you. Just to check in, is anybody else having internet, like any problem seeing this video, to make sure that it's not me, because it could be. Good morning, Stephanie. Okay, so Sandra, congratulations. That's so good. I know that was a weight on you, and now it's all over. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to call this thing we're going to talk about this week a dive into our operating system. And there is, I spent, I think it was yesterday morning, talking about this. Good morning, Renee and Heather. In my head yesterday. So here we go, and I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. And I want you guys, if you can, to tell me what this feels like to you, because I'm the only one living in my head. Well, you know, I'm the only one living in my head that can perceive what's going on. So if I talk about our operating system, we have thoughts that we think all day long, right? Things like, you better get out of bed, or as we create our day, we think, I'm going to have a nice day, and I'm going to get this done, and all the things that we're purposely thinking. But what about about, and I want to hear what other people have to say about this, what about that thing that's underneath everything that's like a little second level of thinking that I'm just going to call it a program, because for me, that's what it feels like. This constant hum of a program that runs underneath everything. So it's almost can strike up an argument in your head, right? You're like trying really hard to have a beautiful day and choose your thoughts and follow that next good feeling thing. But then you have this like son of a bitch underneath. Like, this is how I've been feeling. Underneath that is saying, yeah, but, or it's like a hum underneath everything, right? Or that feeling like you're going to think positive thoughts. So a negative thought comes up and you like, no, I'm going to feel good about this instead. Or I'm going to be inquisitive about this instead. So then it goes back down. But it's still running under there. Like, I don't even know how to explain this, but I've noticed it a long time ago about my thinking. Like, there's like a talking in your head. And then there's a little rumble that lives underneath everything that does whatever it wants. I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. I think that's a really good way to think about it. Or like find it. It's this thing. It's like the tide underneath. It does whatever it wants. It thinks whatever it wants. It construes feelings. And it's like an operating system that's different than the one that we are consciously thinking. Heather, I heard you say professional operating system elsewhere, and I was able to soften the self-judgment for the first time in days. Interesting. Shannon, I get it. Hannah, usually if I work with it and keep it coming up, it's something I need to spend more time with. You know, I'm big on identifying patterns. Stephanie, it's our social training in our internal selves. You guys are all like that, put all that together, and that's what I'm here to talk about. Hannah, number one, that's the thing. I love you for saying that. Because look, like taking me in my position, I've been teaching this stuff for years, and I have trained myself to do and think and be a particular way around, creating my thoughts and all of that stuff. But I realized yesterday, this operating system, I'm just going to call it a professional operating system, is exactly what someone just said. Stephanie, it is. It's what we're born with. It's what we came with. It's what we've experienced. And it is what dictates our patterns, our triggers, our conditioning, all of that, over and above our consciousness that we can control. So I have a lot to talk about this weekend around it, because the way to stop this or have a partnership with this deep conditioning that we have, or this deep operating system, is to give it time, to give it attention, to allow it to show itself. And I'm going to concentrate on that. We have to allow it to show itself so that we can take care of it and heal that part of ourselves. And I think, and I'm going to be like, this is something that I'm personally working on this week. I am guilty of this. I am guilty of, I think when we have trauma and we grow up in households that we're not allowed to speak up, or whatever happens to us, all of our little parts are very smart about understanding how do I make life work and how do I survive and still have this crap that's going on every day in my life. So we learn how to suppress it. We learn how to cope with it. We learn, how to stuff it and quiet it. It's like a monster, people. It's like a monster that's living within us. And I'm being, I just heard this word in my head, like exaggerating. It's a word. I heard it, but I don't even think I could say it. So as a monster, like this monster, it's something that, it can be a beautiful thing for us if we have command over it. But so many of us don't, and that operating system instead runs the show, even when we think we have control over it. It's like the top of the surface we have control over. But if we don't allow all that stuff to come up, then we can't heal it. And so many of us are so gifted in controlling ourselves. Does that sound familiar to you guys? You guys who are innately healers or who are empathic, those words. But we also, how many of you guys say, I hear this all the time. I lived it with my mother, and I used to be this way. I'm nice all the time. I can handle a lot of stress. I don't get angry very easy, but you better watch out when I do, because there's no stopping me. Once you tip me over that edge, I've lost it. And then you get my wrath. But up until then, I'm really nice. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Like, I don't get mad very often, but when I do, watch out. That's what I grew up with. And that's our operating system finally coming to the surface and saying, enough. So we're going to talk about this every day this week, because I have some ideas. Hannah, you have to try really hard to get me there, and it isn't worth my reaction anymore. Yeah. It's those of us who we've learned, right? We've learned as like we're growing up and we've been conditioned to be able to, it's almost existing in two different ways, right? We're existing on the top, and we're just we're like getting through, and you can literally train that part of you to react in different ways. But that base operating system is, it's a very powerful thing, and it's running, and we can't stop it. The only way that we can, I'm trying to think of the right word, because I'm hearing like, the only way that we can tame it, or the only way that we can control it, but it's a partnership. We have to have a partnership with our program in order to work together to create our best lives. So you can't stuff it. You can't tell it to be quiet. It doesn't. You can't. Like, it won't. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have control over it. I don't think. I mean, you guys can like tell me what you think, but I don't think we have control over it. You have to partner up with it and learn from it and listen to it and work with it. Okay. Hannah, don't get me wrong, it still lives there. Fuck around and find out. And yep. Hannah, just only comes out when I'm absolutely necessary. I had a similar conversation with a friend about this weekend. Shannon, the exorcist or other one, comes to life to protect and survive. Heather, I'm trying to develop a partnership with anger. I'll ponder if that's the same as the POS. Yeah. Heather, let's talk about that for a minute. I'll develop a partnership with anger. I can feel it. Like when I read your sentence, I can feel it, and it wants to be heard. Tomorrow, what I'm going to talk about, because I saw this whole thing, and it's really basically about, we're born with our genetics, right? Our DNA is we're born with it. We're born with that written out. And what I heard yesterday is as we come into life, we're predisposed to things. We're predisposed because of our DNA. And those predispositions they're like a soft spot on a piece of fruit. So once they're touched, once they're activated because of our conditioning, because of our existence and our relationships, and those bruises are the things in our operating system that need to be paid attention to. And the only way, this is what I heard, or the best way to crap, it came in my head and came out. The best way for us to heal those is to let them come up, to let them, and that's the whole thing. Like if we're triggered, you stop and you make friends with your trigger and understand it. Why is it there? And what I heard yesterday is it is more effective to lean in to when you're uncomfortable in a situation than to dig deep in history and run around and, play with your trauma. So instead of playing with your trauma, it's like living a life of paying attention to how you feel about things and addressing it in the present versus rehashing like talk therapy and stuff. Because we don't need to go back because it's right here. So it's in my head, what I'm hearing is it's almost like I see this in my head all the time. Before we're coming here for our life, if we were like sitting on a bank over a river with a friend and said, okay, my life experience, I want to have these challenges and these experiences. And it's like a menu, or, if you go to a restaurant and you check a bunch of boxes of I want this on my pizza. And then when we're coming in to have our life, those are our soft spots that can be easily bruised, so they're activated, and then we can have that experience. Hannah, I think anger can be a wonderful partner if you know how to use it to make waves in a productive manner, not a destructive manner. Some of the biggest consciousness moments in history started with anger and ended with change. Really good point, Hannah. I like that. And anger is there for a reason. It's there for a reason, right? And how many of you guys feel angry about something? Usually it's because we can't control something. And then, at least at first, try to dampen that anger. Or it can be scary for some people to be angry, right? So you try to tell it, calm down, be quiet, whatever it may be. And I don't know, you guys who are very familiar with working with energy, have you ever been so mad that the power, it's like for me, if I get really mad, I will blow lights. Has anybody ever had that experience with energy, feeling like it's a powerful feeling? Anger, it can feel powerful. I had someone ask me how I got beyond this and that and the other. And I said, make no mistake, those beasts are still there. They are just sleeping. Yeah. For me, those beasts that you're talking about, I am finding that those beasts can't, this is for me, those beasts can't exist and at the same time as us being free. They have to be free. That part of us has to be free. And it's in my head, I just saw something like, you know, the like if you imagine a lion with a splinter in his foot, it's the splinters that we need to listen to and heal and have a relationship with that wound to understand it and deactivate it. I read a meme that said, I forgive you, but I can't speak on the universe. She gets protective of me. Yeah. Yeah. Our anger it's powerful. Yeah. It's, our anger is palpable, right? I have heard a long time ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who did like, he was part of Haunted North Carolina, and he did investigations for paranormal stuff in houses. And he said that sometimes people would call and say that their house would be haunted because there was things going on in the house. Things would move in the rooms, or things would fall off shelves, or, you know, doors would close and stuff like that. And it's the first time I ever heard that there's a word for it. It's like auto something. I used to know it. I haven't thought about it for a long time. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's like a poltergeist kind of activity, but it's our personal energy that's creating the things that are going on in our environment. So I think I recall that there was a lot of, like, if there was someone who was very, very, had a lot of trauma and had a lot of, you know, a natural ability to like use their energy, or not be able to use it, but be able to express it, and then not understand that they personally were doing this like poltergeist kind of stuff. That it wasn't a poltergeist, it was their own personal energy. So yeah, we are powerful creatures, and so imagine the power. This is my question for the week. Imagine the power that you would have if you had command of all the layers of our operating system. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. So if you want to, during your day today, pay attention to what's running underneath the surface. Not your top part that talks to you all day long, but the other part that's deep down. This is how I originally started questioning this. This was a long time ago. It's like when we have thoughts, it's so hard to put it into words. When we have thoughts, but they're so quiet, they aren't like a noise in your head. They're not even a feeling. It's almost like, I don't know, it's like a notification on your phone, but it's like a little ticker tape that maybe runs across your solar plexus instead of your brain. And that's what we want to investigate this week. So as you're like just going about your day, consider where your thoughts are coming from and the volume of your thoughts, and can you start to separate your just everyday like all the stuff that operates in your head, and then the other data that's constantly being fed to you. And we want to investigate that data. We want to investigate like the operating system. And the other part of following yourself this week, start to, if you don't already, start to imagine having a relationship with that part of you. So you want to listen to it and see what you hear. There's so much, I could talk about this stuff all day, and there's so much that I'm going to add to the program around this. So if you're interested in the Magic Copperide program, this is where we dive deep and, you know, get to explore on a deeper level with this stuff. But anyways, today, I think that was a really good start to just like throughout your day, start to pay attention, if you don't already, the different levels of what is speaking to you. Shannon, that's my undertowed. Is that a typo on purpose? That's my undertowed, I guess. I only know how to explain it as others did. Exorcist, beast, demon, and I know, I get it. I know it's not evil. I know it's powerful. I know I didn't use. Yeah, Shannon, I think you were exactly right. I love that undertowed. If that was on purpose, I would love to like use that. Because we do, this is a long topic and I'm going to get off because I could talk all day. But you're right. And what about this? Heather, I think you can relate to this because it makes me think of you. We demonize that part of us. Do we? Do you demonize that part of you? Like, funny story. Not funny, but my whole entire life, my mother told me when I was a little girl, I would get so mad that she would time me out, you know, and I would break things that I loved. There's this one story about a chalkboard. I love the chalkboard, and I was so mad that I just broke the chalkboard. I was little too. I was like 4 or 5. And this is super cool because this is the first time I'm thinking about it this way. That's how I was instilled that thought a lot. Even as an adult, my mother would tell me this, and that is like demonizing that part of you that is sick and tired of the things being the way they are, and you know, feeling like you can't change things or whatever that may be. And Shannon, you're exact. I love that. It is what we have categorized, or what people, mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, whatever, you know, that's a really common input that you hear, you know, that there's something wrong with you because you act the way you do. And like demonizing our operating system. That was someone else's undertowed. Oh, I see. All right, Megan, I did that too. Destroyed things when upset. Yep. Shannon, they pinned me to the floor, sitting on top of me, the ice water in my face, locked me in rooms. Shannon, that's a lot. I'm sorry you had to go through that. And it's the control, right? Trying to control. Wow, powerful. All right, so this was a good talk this morning. I'd love to, you know, hear about, as our week goes, what's going on inside of you, and maybe just make an intention to let that part of you have a little space on the stage this week. Let those feelings come up. Let it be heard, so that you can create a partnership with your toad. Whoever said that whole toad thing, who said that? I'm gonna have to go back, because if it wasn't you, Shannon, or was that someone in the comments, or was that someone that you know that just referred to it as that? Okay, well, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll be back tomorrow. And one announcement, this is something I'm working on this week. I'm going to be offering a Reiki package that is independent of the program. So Reiki 1, 2, and 3, it's a whole entire program that will only be focused on Reiki. So those of you who have been interested in learning about Reiki but aren't really interested in being in the program, this is your chance to work on getting your certificates at whatever level you happen to be. And we have a lot with Intuit Health offers a lot of support for your not only just getting your Reiki certificate, but your experience as far as learning how to do Reiki, practicing on real life people via the internet, and pets, learning how to do pet Reiki, and all kinds of different opportunities with learning how to do Reiki. So I'm going to be posting about that later on. And I'm also going to be putting some new dates. We're having a Reiki Healing Circle today at 6. So if you haven't signed up and you want to, go ahead and sign up for that. That's in the comments in this video. And I'll be posting the rest of May's dates this afternoon. I took the weekend off, so I have a lot of catching up to do. All right, guys, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.